This is For the Governed, a podcast series brought to you by Athalonz. Here are your hosts, Tim Markison and Ron Cates.
Hello and welcome to another exciting Athalonz podcast. I'm Ron Cates. With me as always is the CEO and founder of Athalonz, Tim Markison. Howdy, Tim.
Hey, Ron. How are you?
I'm good. So today we're talking about a new venture that we're jumping into.
Right.
And it's called Interwoven Circles. I'm going to let you talk about it at first.
Okay. Yeah, so this is a foundation that you and I are starting.
Yes.
Well, we have started it. So let me just kind of back up a little bit. You know, as at Athalonz, you know, it's our mission to help make the world a little bit better place. You know, we do that through the athletic footwear that we make that help people play athletics a little bit better, so they enjoy it a little bit more. And then we also do humanitarian efforts. So, you know, our biggest effort on the humanitarian side is to prevent child abuse. So we work currently with Safe at Home, and yeah, from my standpoint, my goal or hope with Athalonz is that as Athalonz became a household name, that you couldn't help but hear the name Athalonz and think prevent child abuse. So that would raise the social consciousness about preventing child abuse, and then we could, you know, actually see some benefits.
And we know that the Safe at Home is an excellent organization that gets measurable results, but we also know there are others.
Right. We decided to create our own foundation, and we're calling it Interwoven Circles. Interwoven Circles is the name of our logo. So our logo right there is 3 interwoven circles representing the connectivity of mind, body, and spirit. So that's, you know, the theme. We're carrying the theme from Athalonz into Interwoven Circles. But through Interwoven Circles, now we can focus even more on preventing child abuse and helping more and more organizations that are already doing a good job, like Safe at Home and some others.
Yeah, now at some point in the future, Interwoven Circles is also going to benefit some other types of nonprofits, but we're starting out with preventing child abuse.
Right, right. Yeah, and you know, to me, that's one of the bigger social issues facing the world. And we've talked about this before, but you know, I'm a victim of child sexual abuse, and when I started dealing with my issues a little over 30 years ago, the statistics were roughly 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys would be sexually assaulted in their childhood. And those statistics are essentially the same today. So while there's a lot of work going on in pockets, we're really not as a society making headway. So that's really what Interwoven Circles is about, is encouraging dialogue about child abuse, about the pain it causes, and not just the physical pain of the abuse itself, but the emotional and spiritual scarring that lasts a lifetime and festers and ruins lives, many, many lives, if it's not treated properly. So, you know, and when we look at the problem of abuse, is it's cycle. It's a cycle of abuse. It goes from generation to generation. It's very common that if a person, or most abusers were victims themselves as children. And then most sexual abusers are male, which now creates this generation to generation of perpetuating abuse. And then our society makes it difficult for men to express their feelings and share well, to cry, to talk about their feelings. And from my experiences and then working with a lot of others, talking to a lot of others, and a good bit of reading, the only way to really heal from the trauma is to feel your feelings, let those emotions out, and start to rework that image that the perpetrator projected on us as victims, and rewrite that image so that it's something favorable. You know, for me, I was led to believe that I was a worthless, stupid, ugly thing that couldn't do anything right. And, you know, into my adult life, that's what I believed about myself. You know, so there was so many points in my life that I hated who I was, that I didn't want to go on living. You know, fortunately, I was able to get a lot of help, and my image of myself is much better today. But it's still a work in progress, even as I approach 60 years old.
I know even a few years ago, from just a few years ago, it's improved. You're incredibly accomplished. I mean, just in the most objective, rational, measurable manner, you're incredibly accomplished. But I know up until very recently, you had a hard time really believing any of that, like it was real, or maybe you looked into it or something, and it's just not possible. So I've seen the change in you in just a few years, but I also know I know of your bad moments where you have a really hard time accepting what as real, what everyone else sees in you.
Yeah, and and I'm in counseling again, working through those issues. But for me, it was I set myself up that I had to do everything perfectly. So if it was humanly possible to achieve, then I ought to be able to do it. And anything less would be deemed a failure. And I developed that psychological viewpoint out of what happened to me as a child. There was some part of me that believed if I were only better, then I wouldn't have been abused. If I were only better, I would have been lovable. So I set myself up for unrealistic goals. And even when I achieved something, it was like, oh, I was meant to do that. Okay, next thing, without any satisfaction in accomplishing that. And then, like you were saying, with respect to my patent career, I have achieved things that others haven't. When you look at the number of patents I've written, the number of inventions that I'm an inventor on, I don't think there's anybody in the world that has those type of numbers. And then you couple that with, the billions and billions of dollars that the patents that I've worked on has generated for my clients. That's a pretty good career.
But just a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
you were very hesitant to let me say that you were one of the country's top patent attorneys.
Right. And I'm still having trouble with
and
that
it's
word.
just pure fact. I
Yeah.
mean, there's no arguing
Yeah.
it.
But I'm okay with one of the most accomplished patent attorneys in the country. So we're
one of the top works for me. But I understand.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to know you really well, and I know I get it.
But we're kind of joking about this, but these are common traits of
And you're
victims of
almost
child
60
abuse.
years old.
Yeah.
This happened a long time ago, and it still affects you every single day,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. The challenges of the self-perception, yes, the image of when I look at myself in the mirror, do I like what I see? Just recently with my current counselor, I started focusing on the positive instead of the negative. And because I'm almost 60, I'll be 60 in a few months, and I look at myself in the mirror, and instead of going, I'm in pretty good shape for somebody who's almost 60. I look at the love handles and go, those are kind of flabby. They could be better. Which then begs the question, why do they call them love handles? I mean, I just hate them. Anyway, but it's those kind of challenges that I'm still working through. So, but just shifting the mentality of, well, focus on the positive. What do I see in the mirror that I like? And that's helping start to undo some of the negative images I had of myself that was projected on me 50 years ago.
So we know that there are techniques or there's therapy that can actually help someone make progress.
Right.
So we want to fund those, make people aware of those.
Right.
And then something a little bit different. We also want to find mental health professional resources to help those that think they might become an abuser.
Right. So, to me, the only way we're going to start to reduce the rate of sexual abuse of children and eventually stop it is perpetrators got to stop being perpetrators. And we do that in two ways. The abusers that are abusing today, they need to stop, and they need to stop by getting the help to deal with their own issues that's causing them to act out and harm others. And then we also need to help those victims who, if they don't get the help, they'll end up down that road where they become abusers. So it really is about getting the help. And through Interwoven Circles, we're going to work with a bunch of organizations. They'll be on our website as we vet more and more organizations. We'll put those on our website.
Right, they'll be well vetted, so now people can go to one place and know that every penny they donate is going to go to the cause. So at Interwoven Circles, we will literally take 0 cents. Everything will be funded by you, by me. All the work will be done either by volunteers or it'll be paid for by us.
Right.
Literally 100% of every donation will end up going to a vetted nonprofit that specializes in helping.
Right, right. And that's the objective. And to really launch Interwoven Circles and allow us to get a bigger platform to talk about, I'm going to do a cross-country bike ride with my friend Adam starting on September 29th. We're going to go from San Diego, California to Jacksonville, Florida in a little over 5 weeks.
Let me expand on that, if I might.
You may.
You were a casual, occasional cyclist, few miles every once in a while.
Yes.
In a good week, a couple times. And now you're going to ride your bicycle across the entire United States to celebrate your 60th birthday and to raise awareness about the prevention of child abuse.
Right.
Across the United States.
Right.
From San Diego, California, that's the West Coast, all the way to the East Coast, Jacksonville.
Right.
How many miles is this?
Just under 3,000.
So you're going to ride your bicycle 3,000 miles because of this cause that you're so passionate about.
Right, right. And we're hoping to raise $1 million in donations as we lead up to the bike ride and then throughout the bike ride. And we're encouraging people to ride along with me, to come out and train with me. And we'll have the route online by the time this
everything will be at
public.
interwovencircles.com.
Right.
It'll all be there.
Yep. And but the biggest thing is encouraging the dialogue, talking about child abuse. And not the gory things that happen, but recognizing that it happened, and the adverse effects that it has on a person that makes them feel less than, that creates the self-destructive behaviors, that causes destructive behaviors towards others. If we can start that dialogue and starting people healing, now we can actually see some difference. And really, really encouraging men to talk about, their issues and what happened to them. And breaking down that social paradigm that, men have to be stoic and showing emotion is a sign of weakness. I find that to be, just totally wrong.
Now, on the positive side, and it's hard to find one in this scenario because it's so heinous to even think about. On the positive side, there is hope because people like you have had incredible accomplishments. You're continuing to get healthier by the day, and you've got a ton of adventures still to come down the road.
Right. Yeah, for me, I still view my best days are ahead. The more I can deal with my issues and feel better and better about myself, the more I'm enjoying life, and the more I want to accomplish, and the more good I want to do as time passes.